Okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Region 12. I hope you all had a wonderful lunch break. Enjoyed a little bit of the sunshine outside, maybe wherever you are. Um, Thank you for being back here with us. We're so happy to have you. We have two terrific classes this afternoon. Our first class for this afternoon is with our very own Kathy Scheel. She is the regional directors coordinator, as well as the master director for Oregon Spirit Chorus. We're so happy to have her here with us. And before I welcome her one more time, I forgot my little reminders. I apologize, Kathy. For Q&A, if you have any questions for Kathy during her class, make sure that you do put them in the Q&A box here in the webinar. Or if you have any comments or anything else that you would like to say, you could put that in the Zoom chat as well. So I just wanted to give those reminders. And with that said, please welcome Kathy Scheel and her class on ways to support your director.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. Well, thank you for that introduction, Allison. And I just have to once again give kudos to the people behind the scenes. We've got Randy, SAI, and Pete Cheney and Kevin Day, all working behind the scenes to make these educational events happen. And of course, our wonderful education coordinator, Allison. So yes, I'm the directors coordinator, and I see that role as being the voice of the directors of Region 12 at the table of the regional management team. And we've been meeting, the directors have been meeting every month since March, actually. And we've been building relationships, and I've been picking their brains to bring you this. And I joined the organization in 1971. Can you believe that? January 20th of 2021 will be my 50th year. It's crazy. And I started directing in 1972. So I've got a little experience behind me. And so I'm bringing a lot of the things that I've experienced, as well as the input from your directors to this presentation today. Most of what I'm going to present is not new to most of you. There are refreshers. Since we started Zoom, I think it's easy to forget some of these things, ways to actually support your director. I liked what Therese Antonini said a few times during her presentations, in that we all learn from each other. So please don't be shy about putting things in the Q&A room. Allison will pick up the comments and convey them to me at appropriate times, because we really do learn from each other. Every single time I do a presentation, I learn not only from the process of doing research and writing thoughts down, but also during the presentation, I learn from you guys. So again, I encourage you to share. I wish I could see you, but you can see me, so yay. So let's get on with it. I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully you'll be able to see my presentation. Everybody can see that? Awesome. So, hello, why is it not switching here? Here we go. First of all, you all have a director. Everybody has one, and your director has a deep love for every single one of you. Most of the time. No, she does. She cares for you, and everything she does is for you. She spends many, many hours every week on planning rehearsals and lots of counseling and meetings and communicating, emailing, studying, learning, teaching, talking, all of those things every week. And she doesn't ever really take a break from it. She's passionate about this art form. She loves it. She has to be in order to inspire you to be passionate about it, right? She's a visionary. She always has a vision when she's preparing for performances or shows or contests. She's always working towards a goal, and she is looking weeks and months ahead, not just what's happening next week. She works to make every single chorus rehearsal meaningful and worthwhile. I know that a lot of you have chorus members who drive 2+ hours one way to get to rehearsal. We do too, and I really make an effort to make sure that time is well spent. Not the 2-hour driving, but once they get to rehearsal, I want to make sure that it's really been worthwhile for them. we really try to find ways to meet the needs of every member. And we understand that's not possible to, it's impossible to meet everybody's needs, to make everybody happy at all times, but we still try. And we know that you're adult learners, so you want to know the what, the why, and the how, right? So what is the goal for the evening? What's your goal? What's her goal? The why would be, is it relevant to you? And the how is, how do you put these things to practice? So we try to address all of those needs every week. Your director is a musician. She's an artist. And now, yep, she's a techie, or at least she's trying to be. And I think most importantly, your director is a human being with feelings just like you. Sometimes you put them on a pedestal and you might forget that they are actually human and have the same reactions to things that happen each week. And we all miss hearing your voices singing. Oh my gosh, I know you all miss it too. We miss the feeling of the vibrations of the chords. You know how they just buzz around you, and getting totally immersed in the emotions of the song or the silliness of the song. And we miss experiencing it live because we can't do it on Zoom. And most of all, we miss you. And sure, we see you each week, but it's certainly not the same. And we're all grieving, ever since, gosh, we've been in quarantine for 7 months now. Can you believe that? Or just nearly 7 months, in just a few days that will be. And I think one of the things we're all grieving about right now is the fact that we won't be having a regional competition next spring. And I want you to know that the regional management team is talking about it. We will be meeting, we will be communicating with you everything that we can as soon as we can. But we would love to hear your ideas. We're a group of really creative people, but mostly we're a group of people who like to make things happen. So we need new ideas. So if you've got an idea, please send a note to the regional management team, any of the members of the regional management team, and we'll bring it to the table and talk about it. Okay, that a deal? But I think since Zooming, some of us have forgotten some of the things that we would typically do at an actual in-person chorus rehearsal, right? It's just such a different world that we're living in now. I liked Teresa's reference to abundance thinking this morning. That was a great class, and I think that we all need to be thankful for what we still do have. It's just a really neat sisterhood that we share. So let's get back to the talking about supporting your directors. I think the most important thing that directors want is for you to be the model chorus member. And I have some things that I'm going to share with you today that I think make a model chorus member. Modeling the behavior that supports your director and the chorus, even on Zoom. And being the singer that everybody wants to stand next to on the risers, or be the singer that everybody, watches at a performance. It's your choice. It's always your choice. We have a term that we use at my chorus, and it's CPR. A lot of you are going to be familiar with that. We didn't make it up. I think it was the Melodiers that we got it from, but it's called choose personal responsibility. So everything that you do as a chorus singer, as a person, it's about choices. So if you choose personal responsibility, it's going to have a huge impact on everybody around you in the Zoom world as well as on the risers. Okay? So what does a model chorus member look like? These are the top 5 in my opinion. And at the end of this part of the presentation, this is mostly about non-Zoom life. This is mostly about when you're in person. And at the end of it, I'd love for you to tell me if you have other ideas of what a model chorus member might look like. I think that she has to have positive energy and intention, attendance, being prepared and focused, being a lifelong learner, and being a great communicator. Right? So I know that all of these things can be challenging, even in the best of times, but especially during quarantine or wildfire season. We just got through the most horrible wildfire season in Oregon in our history. And we're all reeling from that and anything else that life throws at us. But I guarantee that being a model course member and having that positive energy and all of these things is going to re-energize you. It's going to refresh your memory on how much you love being a course member. So let's take a closer look at some of these things. What's positive energy? Being a beacon of light. We see you the moment you walk into the room, whether it's on the risers or at rehearsal hall or into the Zoom window. We see you. We see you. We really do. And we can tell what kind of mood you're in. It goes back to personal choice. So put a smile on your face and show enthusiasm. An easy exercise that re-energizes your face is do this with me. Everybody pucker up. I'm going to tell you 3 things. You're going to pucker up really tight, and then you're going to smile from ear to ear, and then you're going to relax. So everybody pucker up really tight. Now smile ear to ear, really big, like ridiculously big, and then relax. Do you notice that most of you don't go all the way back down to this? Your face is energized, except Pete did, I saw her. Your face is energized and it just feels a little tingly. You just kind of, fed blood to your face and everything just lightens up a little. So every now and then, if you recognize that your face is kind of down and you got the jowls and all this stuff, just do that exercise. You can do it today during this presentation, but for sure, your next rehearsal, do that, okay? Exhibit positive body language. Granted, we can only see this much of you for most of the rehearsal on Zoom, but we can read a lot from that. But going back to in-person rehearsals, I have seen people on the risers cross their arms or put one hip out and just, it just shows indifference. I mean, that's how we're going to read that out front. It could be something completely different, but how we're interpreting it is probably different than you intended. But just be aware of your body language and your facial expressions. So important. And I'm going to get into some of the Zoom etiquette and stuff a little later in my presentation, and we'll talk about that some more. Being in performance mode. Most of the time, I think we have a tendency to sit in front of the screen and just watch a talking head. And you're kind of singing, but not really. So think about what you're doing to your singing skills. Does that show body alignment and correct posture for singing? Does it build stamina? Does it create buoyancy in the voice? Can you do showmanship doing that way or choreography if you're sitting down? You just are not building great skills if you're not in performance mode during Zoom. Even this morning when Therese was giving her classes, it's like I was sitting there for the longest time and then I realized I could be getting my steps in. So I got up out of my chair and I started walking and I got 4,000 steps in today so far, just from the classes. So just think about getting up and re-energizing your body, okay? Be the first person on the risers or be the first person in the room. We have a 6:30 to 7 o'clock pre-glow where we just chat and stuff. Be the first person there and just be excited to be there. And always be respectful. I really liked, and I was glad she repeated it this morning, Therese's reference to negative energy, being like a glass of clear water where you put a drop of milk in and it muddies or it makes it murky. And then it takes a long time for that murkiness to clear up, for the milk to settle or the negative energy to settle. And I just want you to choose personal responsibility, or maybe this P in this case could be choosing positive responsibility. Another thing that makes a model course member is to attend, be present, but not just physically, be present mentally and emotionally too. How many times have you, I wish I could see hands raised, because I bet a lot of you have had nights when you just didn't feel like it. And then 10 minutes after you got there, you realized, man, I'm so glad I came, right? I mean, I used to drive, before I moved to Salem, I used to drive down from South Portland down to Salem, and it was about a 45-minute drive or so. And there were many nights, after a 9-hour, really stressful day, I just didn't feel like it. But of course, being the director, I kind of felt like I had to be there. So I would drive down there and I'd talk to myself, like, oh, I can do this. Come on, you can do this. And then I'd sit in the car and go, okay, smile. And just, you'll get through this. And every single time, 100% of the time, I felt great after about 10 minutes. And many of you on Zoom do a check-in and check-out. And I bet you've probably noticed that when you check in and ask the chorus members, how you doing? At the beginning of rehearsal, you'll get things like, I'm exhausted, I'm depressed, I'm tired, I'm just not motivated, and, stuff like that. And then at the end of rehearsal, you say, check out, how you feeling now? And it's stuff like, so energized, so glad to see everybody. I'm so glad I came. And just do that for yourself. Attend, and you will not be sorry. You'll be re-energized and again, refresh your memory on how much you love the chorus, how much you love your singing sisters, and how much you love your director, right? So do it for yourself. And for performances, if you show up, sign up, show up. This is especially important, I think even more so for smaller courses, smaller mid-sized courses. Directors accept performances based on, okay, we've got a balanced chorus. So if you've got, say, 3 tenors and 2 of them back out at the end, you're not going to have the same balance that you expected. And it really is important. You may not realize just how important you are. We miss you when you're not there, and especially at performances. It's a matter of respect, matter of reliability. Okay? Another thing that makes a great model chorus member is to be prepared and focused. Do your homework. Be the first one off the music before the deadline. Wouldn't that be awesome? Be attentive and focused. In Zoom, there are so many ways that so many things that pull away from our focus. And oops, I just turned the wrong page, excuse me. And it's really important that you maintain your focus. For instance, don't look away, don't check cell phones, make sure they're in another room, turn off notifications, be here, be present mentally. Okay, we need you here. And we notice when your focus is diverted someplace else. It's a matter of respect. Again, your director spends hours and hours preparing for Zoom calls. It's much different than when, pre-Zoom or pre-COVID, where we were hired to be musicians. We were hired to direct and to hear and coach. We would work on sync and tuning and vowel matching and all of the things that make a great ensemble. But now we're doing completely different skill set. And so it takes a lot more time to prepare for it. So respect that, okay? Got a little off topic there. Participate in quality programs. And this can be, every course does it a little differently. It can be self-evaluations or turning in recordings for assessment and feedback, or back before, pre-COVID, it was singing in octets or doing a grand march or singing in quartets or the star chorus type of thing. But participate. And I love that so many choruses in our region are doing virtual chorus videos and projects. And what we've learned, we're in the midst, right about midway through our first one. And what my chorus members have learned, and I'm pretty sure you guys have learned the same thing, is that it's a great learning tool. I mean, it's a quality program all by themselves. They're like being their own best voice teacher, because suddenly they're not just standing on the risers and making a recording and sending it in right there from the risers. They are doing it at home and listening to it before turning it in and going, oh, I could do better, and I could do better, and I could do better, and redoing it and getting better each time. And so their attention to detail is increased exponentially. And I think that virtual chorus programs are making everybody better singers. Gosh, directors didn't have anything to do with that, really, did we? But it's just another quality program I think we could add to our list. Help reduce or eliminate talking on the risers. So if you're on the risers, pre-COVID, if somebody talks to you, what I would recommend is you just don't even acknowledge them. You just stay straight, looking straight ahead as much as you can. I used to be in a chorus in the front row at Pride of Portland, and the gal next to me was just a chatterbox. I just loved her. I'd known her for like 20 years before then, just a chatterbox. And I'd turn around to look at her, and that's when I would get nailed. It's like I didn't even say anything. So I stopped even looking at her, and I just would point forward like, I'm looking at Ryan, and you can do the same thing. But on COVID, did you know that the chat room is just like talking on the risers? Yeah, we can see you. A couple of nights ago or last week, two gals who hadn't seen each other in a while, I could tell that they were, because they were both laughing and doing, I wasn't saying anything funny at the time. And they were just, chatting back and forth. And it was like, I see you guys. I totally nailed them, and they just laughed. But it's the same thing as talking on the risers. So just try to reduce that, at least when rehearsal officially starts. Anything goes from, at the pre-glow from 6:30 to 7 o'clock, or after the rehearsal is over at the afterglow. Anything goes. You can do whatever you want. But while we are doing something, or if we've got an assistant director who's leading vocals, or a choreographer who's leading visual stuff, a rhythmic or physical warm-ups, please be focused and reduce talking in the chat room. Okay, deal. Another thing that a model course member does is being a lifelong learner. And the fact that all of you are here shows us that you're a lifelong learner. We love it when you attend workshops and encourage others too, especially when you come back home and share what you've learned. That's something that I always love to do. So if somebody goes to AIM with me, I say, I want you to get in front of the chorus next Tuesday night and tell your favorite moment or whatever your class was. It encourages others to go, and it shows the director and everybody else that you are eager to learn. And when you are eager to learn, you're going to be a better chorus member. And being a better chorus member means a better chorus. So that's what we're all there for, right? So yeah, visit other courses and regions and go to international events. What's cool about Zoom, there are actually a few positives. What's cool about Zoom is you can do all of those things without airfare, without hotel costs, without gas money, without restaurant meals. So yeah, just visit. Most choruses have been having coaches in on Zoom, and you can ask the director if it's okay if you Zoom in. We've had visitors almost every week from other choruses, and we love it. The chorus directors often will share the links, like for instance, last week I sent a link out to all of the directors and invited them to join my chorus this coming Tuesday, because Rob Mance is going to be working with us, and he's going to do some really neat motivational stuff. Absolutely, visit each other's. Other regions are doing similar things that we're doing this weekend. Not as good, but but we encourage you to visit those. You get ideas, you take them to your director, and attending international events is awesome. I can't wait till IES is back again, and I can see those people I only see once a year. Learn more about the craft of singing your part. That would be an awesome thing for a model course member to do. And there are so many resources. You've got, YouTube, and you've got the Sweet Adelines and Barbershop Harmony websites. You got the Region 12 website that has all the videos from all of our AIM weekends. You've got your section leaders and assistant directors, and the Arranger program has wonderful information about the barbershop chords structure and why they're made that way, and theory, which is totally over my head, but You learn so much with the arranger program or the director certification program. The director certification program has several modules, and it's not just for directors. It's for just learning about barbershop harmony and this organization and rehearsal planning and all of the things that go into being a director. But it doesn't mean you have to become one or even are interested in becoming one. It's just a way to learn more about, multi-layers of the organization and what we do. There's also, oh, it just went out of my head. You have those moments. Don't you love those moments? Especially in front of regional people. Love it. I was going to say the judging category description booklet. The judging category description booklet, otherwise known as JCDB, is it's like the rules of the game, what the judges are looking for in a perfect performance. But it's not just that, it's what the audiences are looking for. So if you really want to sing great barbershop and you want to know how it's done, that's really the Bible. That's really the go-to place for knowledge. And I think that every director out there, pretty sure, has a copy, and it's probably dog-eared and highlighted and got sticky notes all over it, because it's just a great reference tool for learning. Also take voice lessons and have personal vocal instruction, PVIs. We've got Jetta Sorensen, who is our PVI registrar, and her name and email was in a recent e-blast that Pete issued. And you can also find her through Allison Miller, because she's part of the education team. So I encourage you to do that. I don't know how many people are doing PVIs this weekend, but if you are, good for you. That shows that you are a lifelong learner. And listen to Great Barbershop. There's so many awesome recordings and videos on YouTube. And once you watch one, it'll show you a bunch of choices on the side, and it's like, oh, I'm going to watch that one too. I'm going to watch that one. And you just end up eating up about 2 hours of awesome barbershop. And when you're doing that, you're learning, what the director is going for. Okay, that's awesome barbershop. I'm going to up my standard. I'm going to up my level of expectation. And it's just kind of a subliminal thing that is happening when you're listening to awesome barbershop. I remember when I first started really diving into this organization, that's what I did. Well, it wasn't on YouTube back then, but I got as many recordings as I could, and I listened and tried to imitate, and I learned a lot that way. As Therese said this morning, communicate. Be timely in responding to emails. The general rule that I have, and I've talked to other directors about this, and that's about every 2 days, about every 48 hours. If we send something out, we would like to hear back from you, just to say you got it, because if you don't respond, we think you didn't see it yet, and then we're going to start nagging you or whatever. So just go ahead and respond. And you probably should respond right away, because if you just go, oh, I'll do that later, you'll probably forget. The red email starts floating down to the bottom and you don't even see it anymore. So just do that for us. Be a good listener. That goes without saying. And talk with your director about any concerns you have about her, not to others. Chorus is a small world, so gossip will eventually get back to her. I guarantee it. And, remember the circle game where you say something to somebody and say, don't tell anybody, and then you go on to tell her something. And then she turns around and goes, I'm going to trust you. You're not going to tell anybody, but you know what? And she changes the words just a tiny bit. And then she goes on and changes the words just a tiny bit, and so on. And finally, by the time it gets back to you, and it will get back to that director, or to you, it's completely different. So if you want to be quoted, you better be doing the quoting, all right? Just so to make sure it's accurate. That maintains a huge amount of trust between you and her, and it's always going to be appreciated. But that's assuming that you're going to always do it with love and respect. So if you didn't like something in the rehearsal, please don't go home and email to the director, go ahead and write the email, but wait until the morning, reread it with fresh eyes after a good night's sleep, and be careful about sending unless it's filled, it starts with something positive, then it says what your question is, and then ends with something positive. Do it with love and respect, okay? Share your ideas, especially now. I mean, with the whole cancellation of contests, we're going to be needing creative ideas of what we can do, because we usually focus a whole lot of time, like, about 6 months, 5-6 months towards working towards a contest. That's a big part of our Sweet Adeline's year. So we would love your ideas at any time about things to do. All right. Expressing gratitude. I got to admit that there are times, and I think most directors will probably reluctantly admit this, but there are times when it feels like a thankless job. We work very hard, and it's not like we expect thanks, but it would be wonderful to receive it. Okay? Just find simple ways to say thank you. And as I said, that's kind of the bottom line, always with kindness and respect. So what else do you think? I'd love to hear in the Q&A room some other ideas that you think would make a model chorus member. I'm going to be talking about a Zoom etiquette in just a little bit. Yeah, pretty soon here. But if anybody has, I'll give you a minute. You don't need to raise your hand. You can just type it in the Q&A room, and Allison will pick it up. And if there's nothing, I'll just move along.
Kathy, there is someone wrote in the chat room a little bit ago, back in your presentation, they said, so true. This is Pam, said so true about attending. I think she meant attending rehearsal. Headaches go away, problems diminish, you feel energized. And then she said, chorus is better than a psychiatrist, cheaper too. I thought that was a good one.
It is. It's such great therapy, isn't it? And I know that some people don't come to rehearsal because they are depressed and they're concerned about COVID or the wildfires or politics, all these negative things that are in our lives just coming at us from every direction. But I really feel strongly that it's been the best thing in my life, and it feeds me in such a positive way. So I know that it feeds you too. Good.
We have another comment. Michelle says, ask questions when you don't know something. Be sure to ask questions.
Yes. That's a really good point. Another thing about communicating is when you ask a question, try to make it about something you actually want to know rather than what you think somebody else should know. Like, I don't know if I referred to this yet, but the director has a goal in mind, has a focus in mind and an intention. So you're respecting her by knowing and trusting that she may be working on vowels or tuning or sync or something over here while your mind is going, I wish she would just fix this right here. This person behind me is not singing the right note. She needs to fix this. Right? We've all seen it. We all felt it. We can feel that energy around them. But just kind of refrain from asking that question for that person, but talk to the director afterwards and say, I have a concern. There's something that's going on around me that I'm not sure that you were able to hear, but maybe next week you could address this or something like that. Just do it in a positive way. But yeah, if you're not clear about something, raise your hand and ask the question. We love to make sure that you understand what we're working on and what we're communicating. Absolutely.
We have another comment in the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Gail says, being a lifelong learner is so important. Your director can't drag you into excellence. If you improve yourself, it lifts the whole chorus.
So true. Thank you for that comment. It's true. Just a few people doing something new and doing something excellent is going to add a little bit of peer pressure too. It's going to inspire others to do it. Like, wow, she sang in a quartet. She's never done that before. She challenged herself. And then somebody else has gone, maybe I could try it, or maybe an octet to start with. So yeah, learning things and challenging yourself, and wonderful.
And we have some more. In the chat, Margaret says, or you can ask your section leader. So maybe if for some reason, if you feel like you don't want to bother your director, you could ask your section leader.
Absolutely. Section leader is the first line of defense. I've done a little bit of section leader training, and I feel strongly that the section leader is the best tool for us directors. You section leaders are the direct connection to the individual members. The director typically is working with the choral, the unit sound, and not necessarily each week with the individuals, but that's what the section leaders do, and they develop those relationships, and they know their voices, and they know their learning styles, and all of those things. So excellent. Always go to the section leader first, and she probably will be able to help you without, because just think about like a chorus of even 30 members. If all of those 30 members went to the director for every question, that would be kind of overwhelming. So plus it's a great way to delegate, for the director to delegate, some of those questions to the section leaders. The section leaders grow by learning how to answer those questions, and it takes the pressure off the director. Good.
And then we have another comment in the Q&A. Linda says, make a connection with your director, especially one-on-one. Meet for lunch or email them. Make that connection when you don't have any issues or questions.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you anytime. That's not a problem. Just say hi and thanks. It would be, wow, that's an unexpected surprise. So yeah, these are awesome comments. So everybody's got one. Everybody's got a director, and we are human. So.
And we have another one that just came in.
Uh-huh.
The comment is, there's a time and place for asking about the validity of artistic choices from the director, but during chorus teaching is really not the right time. Excellent.
Yeah, it just detracts from the focus sometimes. As I mentioned a minute ago, when the director is working on one thing and you really, your priority may be something different, allow her to finish what she's doing and just give her that respect. So excellent input. Thank you so much. Yay.
I think that's it for now.
We're going to move on into Zoom etiquette now. Most of our courses in Region 12 are using Zoom. Some of you have found other excellent ways to connect and stay together through emails and phone calls and even probably drive-bys. So good on you for finding a way to do that. It's just so important. We have all found that as important as singing is staying connected. So. But those of you who have used Zoom are probably going to recognize some of these things. Be on time or early. So, it's rehearsal. It's be there. It's like, the 6:30 to 7 o'clock thing is, the pre-glow is a whole lot of fun to just connect and say hi and everything like that. But, and during that period, there's a whole lot of, hi, Diane, hi, baby. Everybody's waving at each other and all the mutes are off and it's just craziness. But at 7 o'clock, when it's time to actually start, that's when all of that has to stop. So if somebody new comes into the room, please don't interrupt and go, hi, look who just got here. Because suddenly everybody's focus is on that. And whatever teaching moment was there is gone, at least temporarily. So that's just another way to show respect. Check your image on the screen. Is there enough lighting and can you see your face? And actually I have some examples of this in a few minutes. But you should be able to at least see your head and shoulders. We have a couple of people who literally are like back here. And it's just like, yeah. So bring your chair up close. Yesterday I was on a call with somebody and that it was in a breakout room, and she was using her cell phone, for the Zoom. And because I could kind of tell, I can't remember what was the clue, but, oh, the way she was looking down at it, and she was kind of moving. The light was behind her and I couldn't see her face at all. It was completely black. And I said, are you using a cell phone? She said, yeah. And I said, then just do this. And she just couldn't figure it out. But that's what you need to figure out. Check your lighting, make sure we can see your face. All right. Usually people are okay with not having the mic muted when you first enter the room, because there's the chatter and the hi and the catching up and stuff. But as soon as it starts, please mute. Okay, and use your headphones. Your headphones it reduces feedback, especially on some computers. It's worse on some than others, and it improves the quality of the sound. I just recently got this headset with an attached thing. It was only $29. I mean, you can spend hundreds of dollars on headsets and microphones, but you don't have to. And by the way, lights, I got a light it's a round light that sits on a little pedestal. It was $19, and I can change I'm not going to do it now because I'm perfect right now, perfectly lit. Perfectly lit. Anyway, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get the equipment that you need. And this is going to last a while, girls. I'm sorry to say, but this is going to last probably another several months. So go ahead and spend just a couple of dollars to make sure that you can be seen. Okay. This is a big one. Checking your facial expression and body language. Again, I've got some examples coming up here, but please smile. Just smile. This would be a great time to everybody do the exercise again. Everybody pucker, really tight, pucker, 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 pucker. Now, ear to ear smile. Ear to ear. See, I can't do it without sound effects. Ear to ear, and now just slightly relax. Everything feels buzzy and lifted. Do that a few times during, I see you. Do that a few times during your Zoom sessions, because it is easy to get kind of relaxed and lazy and complacent. But please just smile, okay? And stay engaged. Sorry, my phone is beeping at me. That is a bad example of being on Zoom. I should not have. I should have left this in the other room. Stay engaged and limit interruptions. How good a timing was that? So, turning off your cell phone, yeah, or leaving it in another room, turning off your notifications. That's what that was on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and whatever else you have, any kind of app that goes beep, beep, anything like that. Turn those off or leave them in the other room. And also interruptions from dogs and kids and husbands. If you've got kids that like walking around with no shirt on, or somebody in the house, please ask them not to walk by the camera. It's just a matter of courtesy for everybody. You may be used to that, but maybe we aren't. And it's humorous the first time, but after that, not so much. Hopefully you're laughing. I wish I had a laugh track. I was going to insert a laugh track about now. Eating before or after the session. This is just a matter of etiquette and courtesy. If you can't get to the session on time, then eat off screen. Let the director maybe send a text and say, or get in the chat room and say, I'll finish eating, I'll be right there, or something like that. But we really don't need to see and hear chomping on the screen. I've actually gotten a couple of emails from my members saying, would you please talk about this? So I'm talking about it. Yeah, cell phone or email off. And limit use of the chat room. I mentioned this before. The chat room is just the same as talking on the risers. And we can tell when you're doing it. You may be thinking you're sneaky, but we can tell. Body language, big time. If you use a virtual background, and I think they're really fun. There's some really awesome ones. You can use chorus pictures behind you or all kinds of stuff, waves in the background or whatever. But if you start moving your hair and your ears do really weird things and they start floating around the room, and it's like you get dizzy watching this thing. So just kind of try to sit still if you're using virtual background, okay? And smile and look directly at the camera. This one is a funny one because the natural tendency is to look at the person who's talking. So for instance, if I'm up in the left corner, which I often am, I think, because I'm the first one on the screen, and I think it usually does that, it like adds people across the screen. So I may be up in the left corner. So if you're talking to me, you're doing this. And I'm talking to you, and this is what I'm seeing instead of this. So it's really weird at first. Just think of yourself as being a TV star and you're having to look right at the camera rather than looking at the person who's on your screen. It's a weird thing, but just try it because it makes a big difference. Okay? So have you ever, at a regular rehearsal, walked out of the room? Have you ever fed the dog? Have you ever fixed dinner while you're at a rehearsal? Have you ever taken a bath? Oh my God. These are things that we have seen. The directors in Region 12 have seen these things on our Zoom calls. Seriously.
Kathy, we have a couple of comments in the Q&A, if I could share them.
Please.
Julie says, as far as if you need to go finish dinner, you can, just a reminder, you can turn your video off if you need to going back to the dinner topic, and then turn it back on when you come back, or when you're done eating dinner. Tammy says, virtual backgrounds are very distracting. Then she says, I start focusing on trying to figure out what I am seeing, and I would rather focus on the director. And then Linda said, taking a bath. Seriously?
Seriously, we've seen these things. So just remember, we actually do see you. You think you are just this little person on the screen, but we see you. And if you're not muted and you make a sound and you're in like speaker view, we really see you. We see you big time. Our entire screen is filled with you. So I'm going to go through some pictures here. And I think I have 12 pictures, and I would love it if you would just acknowledge or maybe put a little, count how many you have actually done. You don't have to share this. I'm not going to ask you to share this with anybody because I don't really want to know that. But it might be revealing. It might be helpful for you to know that these are maybe not the best behaviors. So for instance, looking bored, not even smiling. Do you ever do that? I know you do because I've seen it. I didn't take pictures of people I've seen doing it because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So all of these are of moi, but this is literally what we see. And I want you to ask yourself what kind of message this is giving your director. Is it giving her support? Not so much, right? You wouldn't do this on the risers. Or this, checking text messages, whether it's, right as obvious as that, or just like over here like this, we can tell that you're doing that, and you would never be allowed to do that on the risers. Or eating. Yeah, we don't need to see it. We don't need to hear it. You can disappear, as Julie said, you can, just do away with the video for a few minutes while you're eating, or just wait to come onto the call. Or this, everybody's seen this, like for instance, when you are, moving around on the doing various things, physical and stuff like that, and you forget, and you're just like this. It's just really frustrating. I just want to see people's mouths. Which brings me to this, in the dark, like this lady last night. I don't know about you. I would imagine that some of you on this call are in this session in my audience today wear hearing aids like I do. I wear hearing aids, and I do a lot of lip reading still. Even though these are good hearing aids, there's still a good amount of lip reading going on. So if I can't see you, I have a hard time understanding what you're saying. And this lady last night on the call, I really had a hard time understanding her. It's kind of like wearing face masks, That's really hard. What else? We've got, oh, this is lovely, isn't it? This is not a good look, girls. When you put the camera on your tummy, oh my God, please don't do that. And we had a couple of ladies in our chorus, to give them the benefit of the doubt and totally understood. They had, medical problems and physical problems. One had a back brace and the other had surgery, and they had to lay down. And bless their hearts, they were still there. They were still attending. They still wanted to be involved. That was neat. Plus it gave us an opportunity to say, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. But for those of you who are just basically lazy, do I dare say lazy? Please don't do this. It's just not a good look. And I mentioned the virtual background. It's just weird. I mean, this is one I used one night, and every time you can see my hand is kind of like weird and distorted, but it was doing stuff to my hair and my ears, and things were floating, and so yeah, just makes me kind of dizzy. Or if you're not focused on the speaker, that's not a good thing to do. For instance, if I was talking to, say, Julie Starr, and I went, "Hi, Julie. So how you doing?" I would never do that. Or, "Hi, Sharon Carlson. I'm talking up here." Or, "Hi, Angela Sirachi." That's just impolite. You would never do that to them in person, right? Or checking emails. I mentioned ago. We can tell when you're doing that. Your focus and your attention has been diverted, and we can tell. And we are probably going to read that as indifference. You don't really care what we're talking about. Yeah, you've heard it before. Yeah. But that's not the message that I'm sure you mean to send. You're just distracted easily. And so just take away those distractions if possible. If you have dogs or kids or, anybody else in your household, if there's any way that you can find a place of privacy, do so. It's not always possible. I understand that some situations are just really difficult. You maybe just go out to the car for a little while before savings time starts, daylight savings time starts. But we understand if you cannot, or just let us know actually if you cannot, and we will understand that. Also, when the camera isn't centered on your head and shoulders, like if you stand up to do some dancing and then you forget to put it down again, to adjust the camera like I'm doing right now, the tilt of the camera. Yeah. So just make sure you adjust it. And just looking grouchy. How many of you, I wish I could see raised hands. I bet a lot of you have seen people like this, and you've probably done it yourself without even realizing it. And another thing that I've seen that I forgot to put on here was getting up, like if you're using a cell phone, getting up and walking around. Oh my God, that's distracting. The thing is bouncing along as you're walking and talking. Just don't do that. This is kind of what the directors love to see. Well, maybe not me, but they want to see your face smiling, bright eyes, bushy-tailed, right? So how did you do? How did you do? How many people, and you don't need to answer this necessarily, but did anybody get 12 out of 12 pictures that you've done? I would imagine that a lot of you, if I had asked the question, have you seen this in your Zoom calls, then we would probably get 12 out of 12 because we've seen these each week. Maybe not the bath thing.
We have a couple of questions and some great comments as well.
Yes, yay.
One question that someone put in the Q&A was, can directors see us on a webcam? I'm not entirely sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you've got your camera on, we can see you. Yeah. Most of the time, we can only see this much of you, depending on whether you have it on speaker view. Kind of speaker view. Anytime somebody speaks, their picture is foremost on your screen. But most of the time, we do gallery view, so we can see everybody. Yeah. The only time I use speaker view is when I have a guest speaker, or we've got somebody doing the warm-ups, or somebody physical warm-ups or vocal warm-ups. But most of the time, it's going to be gallery review. Yes, we see you.
Julie says some people have 2 monitors, and then she said we need to look into the one that captures your face on screen.
Good point. Never thought of that. Yeah. Some people do, and sometimes the monitor's up here or over here. So yeah, make sure that the main monitor that you're using, that you see you, is the one that you're talking to and communicating back and forth with. Again, it goes back to the same thing you do in person. You would want eye contact, direct eye contact. You don't want the person looking over here when you're talking to them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then some other comments. Gail said, establish boundaries. This going back to rehearsal time. Establish boundaries with spouses, kids, dogs for 90 minutes once a week. They can stay out of your corner of the living room. And then she talked about for the earbuds, or if you don't like earbuds, she said consider bone conduction earbuds like aftershocks. Then she said they work with hearing aids depending on your type of hearing loss.
I think those are Bluetooth. Yeah, I think Laura Bodie had some of those where they actually have they just sit right here on that bone right there in front of the ear, and they're amazing. My son got one, and I should get some myself because they really are pretty amazing. You can hear really clearly and music and everything. Yeah, they're pretty awesome. I don't know if they're spendy or not, but somebody could probably look that information up and maybe issue an article in our next e-blast about that.
Good idea.
This is the time that, we can share those kind of techie information. Like I said, we're going to be at this for another several months.
I think we could use all the tips we can get.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Joanne has another tip. She said, if you put your cell phone flashlight on the desk in front of you, it creates pretty good light. And then she said, just don't aim it directly at your face.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good advice. As a matter of fact, I got some good advice last night from Randy when we were doing the test run for this class today. I have this light it's a round light, and then it's got a USB port that plugs into my computer. And I had it directly in front of me. And because I wear glasses, it was giving us little circles because it's a circle light. And so her advice was to move it to the side. So that's what I did. Moved a light there and a light there. People with glasses, I think that's a really good piece of advice. It lights this way rather than this way. Reduces that glare. Any other questions?
We have another good question in the Q&A from Jerry. She said, explain again about using earbuds. Should everyone who Zooms use them?
Not everybody does. In fact, I would say in my course, maybe a third of the people wear headphones and or earbuds or something similar like that. I'm not sure why, because it really is better in every way. It's not only better for them, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's going to be better, but it's better quality. It cuts down on feedback. Recently, I don't know what's changed, but I've been getting more like audible feedback where I can hear myself speaking, it's like an echo on just some of the screens. And when they put headphones on, it stops, it fixes it. So, but yeah, not everybody wears them. Not everybody can. I can't wear earbuds because I have hearing aids. So that's what's taking up the space in there. I can't stick an earbud over the hearing aid. So this system works for me. So see whatever works for you. If you have kids or, teenagers or something, borrow one of theirs and see what works, if they'll let you.
And then just a few more. Laura is asking, or she says, just like during in-person rehearsals, if you are able, please get up and do physical warm-ups or choreo. It's wonderful to see people's full bodies engaged.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was talking about that a little earlier, that it's going to do everything good for you. It energizes you, especially if you've been sitting all day. And I totally get that it's really hard to attend yet another Zoom if you've been on Zoom calls all day at work or homeschooling your kids. It's a challenge, but it will energize you. Plus it gives you, it reinforces good singing skills and body alignment and buoyancy in the voice and you will feel better having done so. So thank you for reminding us to do that. Just remember to readjust your camera angle when you sit back down, or we're just going to see chest.
And then Linda is asking, how do you feel about when chorus members turn their camera off? So if they're in rehearsal and they have their camera off for a good portion of the time.
Well, I've come to understand, and I think this probably goes for most directors, but I've come to understand why that happens with my members. And it's not very prevalent, but there are 2 members or 2, 3 members who do that, but they come back. But it's usually because the husband walked into the room and had a question. So I really appreciate the fact that they reduced that distraction for the rest of us. So they just disappeared for a moment and dealt with what was going on, or their kid or their dog or whatever. There was a distraction of some sort. But they came back, they come back and they participate in the rest of the call. So, but if it's the whole time, I feel like that's like being on the risers with a bag over your head. It's like, we want to see you. We want to have a part of you, your smile, your eyes, your presence. I think that would be kind of weird to have that way the whole night. I mean, if it's just because they didn't put makeup on and still have the pajamas on, we don't really care about that either. But hey, they could just put a comb through their hair and slap a little lipstick on and, they'll be fine. So yeah, if it's a good reason, we understand. And if it's brief, we understand. If it's a whole night, that raises a few questions in my mind.
We have just a few more comments, one more comment and a question. Julie says, if singers can respond to the directors as if they were in a one-on-one conversation with smiling and nodding and all those, etc., then that really helps, she said.
It really, truly does. We get our energy from you, totally. Well, not totally. We have a lot of energy ourselves, but we feed off that energy, and that's whether it's in person or on Zoom. So when you are sitting there with any of this kind of expression, it's really a downer. We don't have your attention, we don't have your heart and soul, and it just feels, you would never do that to us in person. I know you would, because we know you love your director. So those kind of things, you just have to be more mindful of it on Zoom. We see your whole face, and in some cases we see more of you than we do on the risers, especially for the larger courses. We're actually getting to know you in a completely different way, which it's a really cool thing. But just be aware of that. Treat everybody on Zoom, and especially the director, as if you were right there in person. Eye contact, smiling eye contact.
And then Stacy is asking, do many choruses allow time before or after rehearsal for socializing? And how is that working for you?
So yeah, I bet there's a lot of people who could input that. It would be kind of fun to start like a blog maybe on our website where people could contribute some of these, like ask a question per week and then everybody input, because you get great ideas. From my personal experience, I love the afterglow. That's when we bring out our drink of wine and we have a toast at the end of our rehearsal. For the last couple of weeks, I've had somebody else doing the toast, and they're really beautiful and they're fun. So yeah, finish the night with a toast and then head to the afterglow. And, it can be 5 people, it can be 20 people. They stick around for as long as they want. It's so beneficial. I think we've all learned that. I think I mentioned this a little while ago, so pardon the repetition, but the connection is almost as important as the singing. Right now, we can't sing together. So it's so incredibly important that we maintain contact with each other and just check in with each other and give each other support and just see each other's smiles and hear our laughter. When you have the afterglow, that's when you find out how that person's week went, good or bad. It's a time to just share our stories and be friends. And that's such an important part of the community of chorus life. Anything else? So,
Just,
Oh, go ahead.
there were just other comments. Region 12 Facebook chat group is a great place to ask questions and share ideas.
Yes.
And someone was just sharing a little bit about the earbuds. She said she heard that if you can try one earbud, if you have, this is back to members that might have hearing aids. She said if you could try one earbud if you have hearing aids, not sure how effective this is, but just another suggestion in that particular area.
Yeah, experiment, see what's going to work. That's a great idea too about Facebook. We've gotten a lot of new people on our Facebook page. The chat room, that'd be a great place to have this kind of further discussion. So if you are not already on the Facebook, the Region 12, Pacific Shores Region 12 Facebook page chat, did I say that all right, Pete? Join it. It's got some really neat ideas and just the community, again, the connecting with your community. We won't see each other. We didn't see each other at summer AIM, fall AIM, winter AIM, convention. So this is what we have, and there are some really wonderful things about it. So join that room. So we've been talking mostly up till now about behaviors to show your director support and how those behaviors impact the director as a person. I'd like to hear. I'd like to get you to share with us, the rest of us, some of the ways you have shown your director support in more tangible ways. And directors, I'd love to hear from you as well. For instance, let me get you started. Some of the meaningful ways my chorus has shown support to me are little things like they made me face masks. So they made me this face mask, and they made me this Laurel Birch face mask. And I've got another half a dozen or so face masks. When I moved down here on May 9th, which was, like we were really getting deep into COVID and quarantine. So I moved down here and they did a drive-by housewarming. Oh my God, it was so fun. Such a surprise. And I cried through the whole thing. My son videoed it. And they were driving by honking and dropping off bags. And the bags had wine, which they know I like wine. They gave me wine, they gave me paper towels, and of course they gave me toilet paper. So it was great, and I'm still using it. They have given me flowers.
Do we need to exit out?
The sweet emails and cards in the mail and applause at the end of the Zoom call is so appreciated. So how are we doing on time? Am I okay?
We are technically over.
Oh dear.
I mean, over our time, but.
Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up then. I would love to hear, and what I'm going to do is on our Facebook page, I'm going to ask this question. I would love to have chorus members share how you've shown support for your director, and I'd love to have chorus directors show how you have received support. So I just really encourage you to support your director proactively, sincerely, lovingly, patiently, and of course, frequently. And I want to say thank you to everybody being here today. It's been a real joy. I really appreciate your interaction with me, and go forth and sing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. What a great class, great input and ideas and feedback that everybody gave during this class. So thank you so much. We are so very lucky to have you in Region 12. So thank you. And with that, our last class of the day is starting at 2:30 with Dee Dee Nibbler, all about smooth singing. So please go take a quick break, get a Diet Coke if you want, or whatever refreshing beverage you feel like on this Saturday afternoon. Thank you so much again to Kathy Scheel, and we will see you all shortly for our last class for fall AIM.
And we will be exiting this, so you'll have to sign back in.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
And stop record. Kevin?